captivity in Egypt and becoming a nation in Egypt and subsequently being released from captivity in Egypt. So we went through basically the timeline of going into Egypt, going to the wilderness, and in terms of going to the wilderness and becoming a nation, organizing and being ruled by judges, and then subsequently us be rebellious, be seduced by the nation round about us. We asked the kings, went into the timeline of the rulership of the respective kings during the united Israel, which was it started with Saul and David and Solomon, all of which ruled for 40 years. And then the kingdom being split after Solomon's death in 933 BC. And then Rehoboam ruled the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom rather, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And Jeroboam ruled the northern kingdom, consisting of the other 9 tribes. And due to disobedience by both kingdoms, we got carried away into captivity at different times. First, the northern kingdom was carried away by the Assyrians in 722 BC and brought to different parts of the Assyrian Empire, different parts of mostly the Babylonians. And the Assyrians been brought to a homeland. And then later on, the southern kingdom, in about say 608 BC, got carried away to Babylon by the Babylonians. Understand? And then the Assyrians basically took over, became the superpower. Subsequently, and basically absorbed all the 12 tribes in captivity. So the most side, we're gonna get me First Ezra's 1. So the most side, of course, before you get First Ezra's 1 and get also Jeremiah 29 and 10. The most side prophesied to Jeremiah that what? The southern kingdom would only be in captivity for 70 years. And then we'll be released. And the Most High, that prophecy come to pass by moving the heart of Cyrus to release other tribes, which were all 12 tribes, because at that time, the Assyrian, actually the Persian Medes took over the rulership. The Persians took over the rulership from the Babylonians and the Assyrians. And they had all 12 tribes in captivity. Okay, so first get Jeremiah 29 and 10. This is just a recap of what we went over last week. Then we're going to continue from there. Okay, go ahead. Colossians 3, verse 17.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him.
God, whatever you do in word or deed, man, your action or your thoughts, they're all going to be consistent. You giving praise and honor to the Most High, Yahweh, Shomash Yahushua. Understand? So whatever you see, physical action or your meditation, whatever good you might, because first your action is basically, an execution of your thoughts. So your thoughts got to be consistent with keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. And that those thoughts get manifested. Understand? Make sure that when they get manifested in accordance with those laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay? Now let's get on Jeremiah 29 and 10.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 10. For thus saith the Most High, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you, and causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Most High.
Right. So that's what the Most High told Jeremiah, the prophet, during that time, to tell to the southern kingdom. After 70 years are accomplished in Babylon, that's how long the Most High said that the southern kingdom would be captivity, which basically started from 608 BC, and Cyrus, the Most High, we're going to read almost all the Most High spoke to Cyrus. Go to Ezra chapter 1. Cyrus was the king of Persia, because at that time, Cyrus took over from the Babylonians and the Syrians, and had all 12 tribes in captivity. Okay, so the Most High put in the heart of Cyrus to fulfill that prophecy to have the southern kingdom in captivity for 70 years. Meaning that when they were released, though, was 538 BC. Okay, after serving 70 years of the southern kingdom in from 608 BC. But of course, the northern kingdom was in captivity for a much longer period of time, because they were in captivity from 722 BC. Okay, go on. Ezra 1, chapter 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 1, verse 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Most High by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Most High stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Other One, power of heaven, hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth. And he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah.
See that? So Cyrus, king of Persia, was acknowledging that he was the Most High. It was the Most High who gave him the authority and the power. Understand? To rule all those nations around. Understand? And the Most High also put it in the heart of Cyrus to build a temple to the Most High. Understand that? Which temple was in the house of Jerusalem, which was in Judea. Of course, that's talking about the rebuilding of our temple, because as we know, the Babylonians had destroyed the first temple in 586 BC. So now the Most High put in the heart of Cyrus to release the Israelites. Understand? So they can go back to Judah and build the temple, build the second temple. Read on.
Verse 3. Who is there among you of all his people? His power be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Most High, power of Israel. He is the power which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold.
See that? In the heathens, man, he is the power, so says Cyrus. Because he knew. The Most High put in his spirit that, hey, I am the only power. I'll give you this authority. And I'm the one authorizing you to release my people so they can go back and build the temple. Just like Pharaoh, just like back in the days, Pharaoh knew. I mean, look at all those miracles that the Most High, all those the plagues that the Most High plagued Egypt with. Pharaoh knew, hey, nobody could do all those things except the only power on this earth. Read.
Verse 4. And so whosoever remains in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold, and with goods and with beasts, beside the free will offering of the house of the Most High that is in Jerusalem. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit the Most High had raised, to go up to build the house of the Most High, which is in Jerusalem.
Right. So Cyrus was inquiring, who is there available among the Israelites to go up and build this temple? Then, of course, diligent men in the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, stepped forward and said, yeah. As they were moved by the Spirit of the Most High, we will go forward and build this temple. Now, of course, nothing ever comes easy. Let's go to Ezra 4. Start from verse 1. There's always going to be obstacles along the way. That it's never going to be smooth sailing. Ezra 4 verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Most High, power of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, Let us build with you, for we seek your power. As ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esar, Hadon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither.
Right. So you know what? The adversary, which are the nations round about us, saw that we got released from captivity, or back in our home, not back in our kingdom, but back in Judah. Again, the kingdom started rebuilding the temple. Of course, it came up trying to come in all subtle and sneak peek, trying to give us the impression that they were trying to be down with us to build this temple. But of course, you know, they're just trying to infiltrate to be a part of our inner circle to see what was going on, so they could sabotage the whole thing. Because they were the same nation who were cheering on the Babylonians and the Syrians when they were invading our land. So I truly believe that now all of a sudden they have our best interests at heart. Read.
Verse 3. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us, to build a house unto our power.
Right. Yeah, our men were wise men. We were on to them. We knew what they were up to. We knew what they were up to come to know. They're just trying to infiltrate, so they could sabotage and prevent the building of the temple. Right?
But we ourselves together will build unto that power of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us.
Right. So then, we don't need your help, man. We got this. We're going to be self-reliant. We got the Most High moving our spirit to be diligent in building this temple. We were in captivity for in the case of the Northern Kingdom, a long time, much longer than the Southern Kingdom, which were there for 70 years. So of course, our men were homesick, longing for the, they were hearing all these great stories, especially the younger ones, great stories of the defeat of Israel and how we ruled and all that. And we were connected and close to the Most High in righteousness. So they wanted a taste of that. So they were anxious to go back and rebuild the temple. But they didn't need any interference from these nations round about it. Read.
Verse 4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Right, see that? It's a long time to try to sabotage us, man. Always carrying bad news to the authorities, even up until the time of a new successor, unto a new king. They started trying to sabotage the whole thing from the time of Cyrus, even up until the King Darius. Now jump to verse 10.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 10. And the rest of the nations, whom the great and noble Snapar brought over, and set in the cities of Samaria, and the rest that are on this side the river, and at such a time. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king, thy servants, the men on this side the river, and at such a time. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof, and joined the foundations. But it known now unto the king that if this city be built and the wall set up again, then they will not pay toll, tribute, and custom. And so thou shalt damage the revenue of the kings. But because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we sent and certified the king, that search may be made in the book of the records of thy fathers. So shalt thou find in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city, and hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition within the same old time. For which cause was the city destroyed?
Right, see that? Now they're trying to send bad message to the kings. So to remind the king of our history, just in case the king wasn't aware of Israel's history, they were trying to remind the king, hey, this is a bad city, this is a rebellious people, and if you let them go back and build a temple and have them come to organize again, you're gonna start paying tribute, you're gonna start contributing to your city, they're gonna be rebellious against you, because that's their history. That's the vibes they were trying to send to Artaxerxes. Now jump to verse 24. I'm just jumping from verse to verse because I mean all these chapters basically on your own time you can read the whole thing. You get a more get a gist of the whole thing because it's a lot of different scriptures, a lot of different chapters that covers this release from the Persian captivity in 538 BC, and that's going to keep going to go back to the southern kingdom. We're going to read also what another kingdom did. Read what another kingdom did. Read on verse 24.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 24. Then ceased the work of the house of the Most High, which is at Jerusalem. So it ceased unto the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
See, basically, after Cyrus did that, there was Artaxerxes, and basically nothing happened during that time because of the pressure from the nations run about us to sabotage us. Man. The letters that they sent to the king to try to stall the rebuilding of the temple, and basically it worked for a time up until the second year of Darius. Now go to verse, or actually go to chapter 3.
Verse 1.
Yeah.
The book of Ezra, chapter 3, verse 1. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Then stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the Most High of Israel, to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of the Most High. And they set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Most High, even burnt offerings morning and evening. They kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of every day required.
So basically, it's just summarizing that even though the nations run about us, trying to sabotage us, the Most High moved the Spirit that hey, Zerubbabel and Joshua, they remind the king that hey, we had a decree. There was a decree from Cyrus 538 BC that we should go back to Judea to rebuild this temple, and so they succeeded in that endeavor and got permission to continue building the temple. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 3. Chapter verse 1.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 3, verse 1. And he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before
Wait a second. What is Zechariah 1 and 1? Put this in proper perspective to see what's really going on. All these scriptures are connected. Zechariah is also giving an account of us being released from the captivity, from the Persian captivity, just like Ezra was given an account of it. So Zechariah 1 and 1.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 1. In the 8th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Most High unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo, the prophet, saying, The Most High hath been sore displeased with your fathers. Therefore say unto them, Thus saith the Most High of hosts, Turn ye unto me, saith the Most High of hosts, and I will turn unto you, saith the Most High of hosts.
So this, of course, this is after Cyrus. This is after we got released from the Persian captivity. The 2nd year of Darius. Actually, the Persian was still ruling. But Cyrus, the 70 years were accomplished. Understand? It's 538 BC. The 70 years were accomplished, and just after 70 years now. And the Most High visited the Israelites again. The 2nd year of Darius. Read.
Verse 4. Be not as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets has cried, saying, Thus saith the Most High of hosts, Turn ye now from your evil ways, and from your evil doings. But they did not hear nor hearken unto me, saith the Most High. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? For my words and my statutes, which I have commanded my servants the prophets, did they not take hold of your fathers? And they returned and said, Like has the Most High of hosts thought to do unto us, according to our ways, and according to our doings, so have he dealt with us.
Right, so the Most High basically reminded them what happened. Why they went into captivity first to begin with. Because what? The Most High commanded our forefathers to walk in his ways, his statutes, keep his laws and commandments. But they disobeyed the Most High. So the Most High sent them into captivity. That Most High would let them know. That's why you're here right now, being ruled by the Persians. You were supposed to be ruling in your homeland, but you're not. Because what? Your forefathers didn't listen to me. So I want you now. That scripture says all that was written before time were written for our learning. I want you to be aware of what happened, so you can know going forward how we should conduct ourselves. Now go back. Now go to chapter 3.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 3, verse 1. And he showed me Joshua the high priest, standing before the angel of the Most High, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him.
Right. So this is a vision that the vision Israelites are having, concerning what was happening. They showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Most High, and Satan. Who is Satan? It's like Satan represented on earth where those nations went about trying to sabotage the rebuilding of the temple. That's what was going on. That's a spiritual manifestation of the physical manifestation of what is happening. Read on.
Verse 2. And the Most High said unto Satan, the idle one rebuke thee, O Satan. Even the idle one that has chosen Israel rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel.
Right. See, there was a bit. He said, always be manifested physically is always something carried out that's being it's all spiritual. It's all spiritual. So there was this altercation of Israel and the nations. Was Satan making intercession, trying to sabotage Israelites from going back to Jerusalem, Judah to rebuild the temple. But the Most High says, what? Is this not a brand plucked out of the fire? Who's that brand? Israel. They were brand plucked out of the fire, out of hardship, tribulation, turmoil, chosen. Understand? And rebuke you, O Satan. So you can't stop this. The Most High ordained this. The Most High have mercy on Jacob. Understand? I will give us rulership once again. Now Joshua was clothed in filthy garments. He stood before the angel. Of course, Joshua was clothed in filthy garments because he was in captivity. He wasn't in the prominence, just in the royal apparel that he should be as a priest of the Most High. Why? Because he was in captivity under the Persians, under his enemies. Read.
Verse 4. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thy iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with change of raiment.
Right. So you mean because of our iniquity, the Most High taking away the royal apparel from us. We were brought to a lower state. Understand the chiefly and the priestly appearance and the royal appearance on the fresh look that we had as Hebrew Israelites that were taken away from us. We were in filthy garments, our servants to our enemies. And the Most High is taking that away from us, cleaning us up now, taking us out of the filth, out of the bondage that we were in under the other nations. Read.
Verse 7. Thus saith the Most High of hosts.
Or is it 5?
Verse 5. I like it. The book of Zechariah, chapter 3, verse 5. And I said, let them set a fair mitre upon his head.
Right. Let them set a fair mitre upon his head. Let him give him his royal garments again, the royal apparel. Read.
So they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with the garments. And the angel of the Most High stood by.
Right, so that's Israel coming back into rule. Being released from captivity and being the temple is being rebuilt and all that. So our men our priests and Hebrew Israelites are dressing in the royal apparel again, the priestly apparel again. Giving praise to the Most High, about to build an altar to the Most High, making sacrifices to the Most High, begging for repentance and making atonement for their transgressions. Read.
And the angel of the Most High protested unto Joshua, saying, Thus saith the Most High of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shalt also keep my courts. And I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wandering acts. For behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. Behold, I will engrave the graving thereof, saith the Most High of hosts. I will remove the iniquity of that land in one day.
Right, so the Most High is elevating Joshua to a prominence, to a chief priest, high priest, understand, and the men around Joshua. For behold, the stone that are being laid, the temple, the foundation that is being laid. Joshua, upon one stone shall I be 7 eyes, or the 7 spirits of the churches. Before I will engrave the graving thereof, said the Most High, and I will remove the iniquity. The Most High was forgiving our transgressions and bringing us back into a homeland and rebuilding the temple. Read.
Verse 10. And that day, says the Most High of hosts, shall ye call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree.
Right. So so the temple at this point was rebuilt. We thought that the time for this, the time was 515 BC. That's when the temple, he got released in 538 BC, but went through so many different obstacles, resistance from the other nations, that they wrote letters to Darius, I mean to Artaxerxes, up to Darius, protesting against the Israelites and telling them, oh, hey, we were a rebellious nation, and if they release us and have us go back and organize as a nation, we would rebel against the Persians. And it worked for a while, but eventually we had to, the Mosai moved the spirits on Darius to recognize that there was a decree by Cyrus, 538 BC, to release the Israelites. So you have to honor it. So eventually the temple got rebuilt in 515 BC. It got released, but due to obstacles along the way, the rebuilding of the temple got delayed up until 515 BC. How many years is that? That's 23 years, basically. 23 years delayed. Okay, so now we just basically summarize to some extent the rulership of the Persian and Medes. As you know, throughout history, there were different kingdoms ruling at different times. Understand? So the next kingdom that's going to be ruling, the next nation going to be ruling are the Greeks. Okay, let's just jump to we read about how the southern kingdom got released. What they did. Now let's go to the Apocrypha to see what happened to the northern kingdom. We just read about the southern kingdom. What happened to the southern kingdom when they got released? Because all 12 tribes got released at the same time. Understand? But what happened? The southern kingdom went back to Judea. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi went back to Judah and rebuilt the temple. But what did the northern kingdom do? 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. 2nd Ezra 13 and 40.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salamander the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. For they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
See, those 10 tribes, it's a 10 tribes, but the 9 tribes, which might have consist of maybe members of other, maybe some Levites, so 10 tribes. But we're talking about basically the northern kingdom. The northern kingdom, read it again.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
Right, so those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king. Hosea was the king of the northern kingdom in 722 BC when the Assyrians took the northern kingdom out of the land and carried them into their empire. Understand? Read on.
Whom Salamander, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right, so this is just giving an account of what happened to the northern kingdom. Salmanazar was the king of Assyria during the time of Hosea in 722 BC. Carried the northern kingdom from Samaria, those 10 tribes, 9 tribes, into various parts of the Assyrian empire. Read what happened to them. Read on.
Verse 41.
But you can read about this in 2 Kings chapter 17. You can read about this, how that transpired, how the northern kingdom were led away captive out of the northern by Salmanazar, the Assyrian king. Right?
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, which where never mankind dwelt.
Yeah. The southern kingdom went back to Judea to build the temple and dwell there, but the northern kingdom said, no, we're not gonna go back. We're gonna go away from these heathens, from these nations round about us. We're gonna go to another place. Understand? We don't want to be around these nations anymore. That's a counsel that they had, which the majority of them followed. Because as we know, I mean, there of course there were remnants of the northern kingdom still around that area, but the majority of them left. They took the counsel and left from the region. Read.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Right. So they never kept the statutes in the homeland in the northern kingdom, because as we know, when who ruled after Solomon died in 933 BC and the northern kingdom got established? Who was ruling? Huh? Okay.
Jeroboam.
Okay. Do you remember what significant event Jeroboam did?
He led Israel away to sin, right?
How did he do that?
By committing an idol, start creating an idol, basically trying to form his own Jerusalem in the northern kingdom, right?
Not his own Jerusalem. Explain that. You said that he formed his own Jerusalem.
He told the people to stop going down to Jerusalem for the high holy days and to stay up. And he built his own temple.
Right. He was concerned that he knew that the temple was in Jerusalem, which was in the southern kingdom. But at this point, there was basically, a conflict. There was a split. So naturally, there's going to be, some, like a skepticism, or they're going to be at odds. There's going to be like tension. So he was concerned that if the people from the northern kingdom would go to Jerusalem to worship, as the commandment has stated. Hold that, get me 1616, is that? 1616? 3 times a year?
Yeah.
You get that?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 16. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Most High thy power, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Most High empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Most High thy power, which he hath given thee.
Right. 3 times a year shall all men appear before the Most High. Understand? In the place where you should choose. And that place is where? The place is Jerusalem. All the tribes. That was talking about all the tribes. All 12 tribes were required by law to go to Jerusalem. Those 3 times a year specifically. And of course, they will go there on other occasions too. So the northern kingdom under Jeroboam was concerned that, hey, if these Israelites from the northern kingdom will go to Jerusalem to worship, you never know. They may get seduced, by the southern kingdom and give their loyalty to the southern kingdom, in which case he will lose his rulership. So to prevent that, what did he do? He forbade the Levites from being priests, as was the commandment. So he chose men of other tribes, base men, as a matter of fact. And he built a temple in Samaria, and idols, and say, this is where you're going to worship now, to prevent them from going back to Jerusalem. That's what happened. I can go back to Esdras.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and had stilled the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
Right. So we're talking about the northern kingdom after being released from the Persian captivity in 538 BC. They took counsel among themselves to not stay among the other nations round about that area of the area of Persian captivity, or even to go back to Israel, out of Israel, but to come to a new location, another land, where they travel by the Euphrates for over a year and a half. The Most High set still the waters so they could come up. That's how the 10 tribes come to be this part of the world. Where? In North, South, and Central America, and other areas along the way. And so, just a brief account of what happened to the Northern Kingdom, because we were focused mostly on the Southern Kingdom. Also get Jeremiah 50 verse 33. Yeah, because we hear mostly about it on the slavery of the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The transatlantic slave trade, but we never seem to give out here much. We don't hear much about what happened to the other tribes. We don't.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Most High of Hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Well, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Just that they were oppressed together under the Persians, because the Persians were ruling. The Syrians started captivating at the northern kingdom in captivity. The Babylonians are the southern kingdom in captivity. Then the Persians took over and had all 12 tribes in captivity. So the children of Israel and Judah were oppressed together. Likewise, in this side of the world, after the northern kingdom came over here in 538 BC, then the southern kingdom, after be brought over here by the transatlantic slave trade in the 1600s, they were all oppressed together by the Edomites, whether the Spaniards, the Dutch, the English, and French. All Edomites are different countries. How do our people in captivity, whether from the Caribbean, Central America, South America, North America, all 12 tribes were oppressed together. Just to give it out. Now let's go back to Joey. Okay, now finish up in the back of her. Finish up. Give me another verse. Is there another verse there? Second Ezra's, should get up. What verse were you at?
Verse, verse 46.
Go on. Yeah.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through, therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
See that? But through the country, there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Ashtoreth, which you know to be America, the Americas. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again. You heard earlier, on the Most Side, say the springs of the stream. So, verse 43, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, And the Most High then shoot signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. So the Most High basically allowed them, calm the seas, still the waters, so to speak, so they could come over here safely. Understand? And the Most High, this is future prophecy. Verse 47 is future prophecy. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again. What is it? What does again imply? What does the word again mean? What does it mean? A second time. Now, literally, it doesn't literally mean that we're going to, this is talking about what? Basically, the second Exodus. Understand? It's talking about the second Exodus. Are we, what would that get me, where is that? Ezekiel? Okay, yeah, give me that. Then you also get Ezekiel 20, verse 32. Call the scripture.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north.
See that? In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. Let's talk about both kingdoms coming together. And they shall what? Read again.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel.
See, in those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. That's shall implies mean what? Future prophecy. Read.
And they shall come together out of the land of the north.
And they shall come together out of the land of the north. Where's the house of, what land of the north is that? Is that talking about Northern Europe? Is that talking about North Africa? Is that talking about North Asia? What land of the north is that talking about?
North America.
The land of the north. Yeah, America. Read. All that, get me Jeremiah 3 verse 12. Yeah.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 12. Go and proclaim these words towards the north.
Go and proclaim these words towards the north. That's what we do as per the Most High's commandment when we go and teach our people. When we go down the streets, when we have these classes, we proclaim the words in the land of the north to the 12 tribes of Israel. Read. What do we say?
And say, return, thou backsliding Israel.
Right. Return, thou backsliding Israel. The Most High said, return to him. Read.
Say the Most High, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith the Most High.
Read.
And I will not keep my anger forever. Only acknowledge thy iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Most High thy power.
Right, then go back. See the Most High, see, go proclaim these words to the north, right here. And the Most High says, well, return unto him. He's not going to hold his anger forever, man. Just acknowledge your iniquity, your transgressions. And the Most High will forgive you and bring it back into the fold. And you will be counted up. In this prophecy right here, where the Most High shall steal the waters again. Go back to what? What did that, what were you reading before?
I was reading Jeremiah 3:18.
3:18?
Can you want me to read that?
Oh, that's what you were reading before?
I was reading Jeremiah 3:12 when I called it, and then I thought you were going to go back to Jeremiah 3:18.
Go back to 18. I mean, just read down there. Read down.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel.
See that?
And they shall come together out of the land of the north.
See? Yeah. Out of the land of the north. Both the 12 tribes shall come together out of the land of the north. Because even though we scattered through the four corners of the earth, a large number of the tribes are right here in the land of the north, America. Or basically, it's the one place where you could say all the 12 tribes are. In some kind of numbers. Even though we have the different tribes the respective tribes in different locations as per the scripture. This is one place where you find a large number of all the 12 tribes together. And this is one place basically the truth is going out at a high level. Even though the Most High is waking up his people all over the world. This is one in North America, is one location where all the 12 tribes are doing together and the truth is going out on a mass level. Read.
And they shall come together out of the land of the north, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
Right, exactly. What land is that? The land of Israel. That's the land of the Most High, not Africa. Even though we were scattered through different parts of the earth, and we had communities or strongholds in northern Africa, like Carthage, all those places. In Tunisia, Libya, different parts of North Africa, we had strongholds there. I mean, you got to go to that another time where we read about like Hannibal and all that. We read about Septimius Severus and all the Hannibal and the 3 Punic wars against the Romans, and was Septimius Severus, Persian, Niger, and all those men, all they rose up against the Roman, and overthrew the Romans, and when we started ruling Europe over 1,000 years. We're going to go into all that in later dates. Now get me right now we read about second Exodus. Now get Ezekiel 20 verse 32.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as a heathen.
Right, see it? Even go way back, man. That's a spirit that's a rebellious spirit that was on our people. The Most High gave us judges to rule. We didn't want that. You want to be like other nations. You want kings like other nations. You want to be like the heathens. The Most High said, that which cometh into man shall not be. When you say, we want to be like the heathens. Even right now, all people are caught up in all kind of religions, man-made religions, of the other nations, their philosophies and doctrines. We tell them that the Hebrew Israelites, they don't want to hear it. But the Most High said, you ain't going to be like that. You ain't going to be no Muslim, the Buddhists, the Rastafarians, the Christians, the atheists. You ain't going to be any of those. You're going to be Hebrew Israelites. Read. Go hold on. What do you got?
Oh, I had Matthew 13 and 15.
I'll read it. Read it.
Oh, read it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Matthew 13 and 15, it says, for this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
Oh, I believe that's going to the scripture where the Most High, but Peter was asking what was speaking in parables. Okay, the Most High, I wish I was saying, okay, I mean, they had him like that.
Yeah.
He had him like that because it was not meant for them to hear the word. Because if they didn't hear the word, they would repent and convert and be saved, and it wasn't meant for those particular people to get that salvation. Okay, but go back to Ezekiel.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries so do serve wood and stone.
That's what the heathens do. Amazing. You serve something that you made. They serve wood and stone. What's wood and stone? The wood is they're talking about the materials that these idols are sculpted out of.
Yeah.
You try to sculpt something that you made with your own hands, and you worship it. That's a low state mindset that our people, that the nations have. That's why the Most High said these nations are nothing. Understand? That's a mind. That's a mind. So we got that's all this let us know the level that the Most High put us on versus how the Most High had the other nations. The level that he put the other nations on. We're special people to the Most High above all nations of this earth. Because these nations couldn't grasp. They had no knowledge of the Most High. That's why Cyrus in Isaiah 45 says, "Yo, surely you are a king that hideth yourself." Because the nation knew not. The Most High revealed himself to them. Just like we read in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 17 and 17. We are the Most High's portion, man. But as for the other nations, they rule over themselves. No connection with the Most High whatsoever. That's why the scripture says, we are the ones that this Bible was given to. Psalms 147, 19, 20. Psalm 17 and 5. Generation to generation, the scripture was passed down from one generation of the Israelites to the next. That's how we know in John 3, 16, 13, on the Israelites, man. You were the one our repentance was given to. Why? Because you were the one that laws was given to. We were the one who transgressed. So we were the ones who needed to be redeemed and to get repentance. Not the whole world, as they know it, but the Israelite world. Now go back to Exodus. Ezekiel 20.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 33. As I live, saith the Most High Power, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you.
No, as a matter of fact, I think what I really wanted was no, I think it's Jeremiah 16, 16.
Hold on a second, let me get it. No, let me the second Exodus.
Oh, 16, 14. Yeah, I think it's almost.
Verse 14? Yeah. 16, 14, Jeremiah, yeah. That's what I want.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right, all that. Let's go back to Ezra 13, verse 47. Then we're going to read Jeremiah. I got to go back to Ezra to refresh your memory because I read a few scriptures since I read verse 47 in Ezra. So I want to link those two precepts together so we get an understanding of what Second Ezra 13 verse 47 is talking about. It's talking about the second Exodus. Understand? Second Ezra 13 verse 47.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 13, verse 47. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again.
The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again. When did the highest stay the springs of the stream? When the Israelites are coming over here. When he calmed the waters of the Euphrates, so that into the ocean to come around this part of the world, so they could safely navigate their way over the ocean to come to this part of the world. Understand? The Most High calmed the seas, calmed the springs. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again a second time. Read.
So verse 47, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through, therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
Right, so the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again a second time, that they may go through. Read on.
But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders.
Right, okay. We're just talking about the second Exodus. Say the streams of the spring again, so they can go through. This is gonna speak figuratively, you know what I mean? it doesn't literally mean that we're going to take the same route to go back to the wilderness, because first and foremost, we're scattered through the four corners of the earth at this point in time. You understand? And the Most High got many different ways in which we're going to be transported from these different locations into the wilderness. So go back to Jeremiah 16:14 to link this verse up with that, concerning about the second Exodus. Read.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Right. Back in the days, all you could hear about, all you could talk about was how the Most High parted the Red Sea and brought the children of Israel out of Egypt into the wilderness and into the homeland. That was spectacular. The nations have never saw this in such thing in their life. And when I heard about the Israelites coming through, passing by them, they trembled, man. They trembled with fear. And they wouldn't allow us to pass anywhere by them, but they would try to fight us. Because they know the Most High was with us, and anyhow we come in their territory, that was their end. So that was the talk of the town, but the Most High saying right here in Jeremiah that they're not going to be talking about that anymore. But what are they going to be talking about? For the Most High brought the children of Israel from the land of the north, the second Exodus, or the Most High stayed the springs of the stream again, a second time, so we could pass over and what? Return to our homeland, the land that He gave to our forefathers, the land of Israel. Read.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither He had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
Right. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Or the Most High brought the children of Israel from the land of the north, all the 12 tribes, and from whither the Most High scattered the 12 tribes of Israel, to bring us back into the land that He gave to our forefathers. Okay. So basically, we summarize the captivity on the Persian, we got released from the Persian captivity in 538 BC, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. What happened? Southern kingdom went back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. The northern kingdom took counsel among themselves to leave the nation round about them and to come to a land which they knew not to keep the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, which happens to be this side of the world, South Central America, and the Caribbean. Okay, so after the Persian captivity, because there was always sort of dispensation of time where different nations were in rulership, where there were different superpowers. So at that time of 538 BC, the Persians ruled. Then after the Persians, another nation ruled. What nation was that? What nation ruled after the Persians?
I think it was Greek, right?
Let's get Daniel 8.
Oh, yeah, that's good first.
Huh?
The vision of Daniel, the statue.
Before you get Daniel, get First Maccabee 1 and 10. Yeah, get that. First Maccabee 1 and 10.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 10. And there came.
As a matter of fact, start from verse 1. Okay. Yeah.
The first book of the Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened, After that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, in Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
Right. So reading about another nation. You know that Darius. This is not the same Darius. This is a later Darius, but it's the same Persian and Medes, king of the Persians, of Alexander the Greek. Understand? Came into prominence, came into power, rulership, overthrew the Persians and destroyed and had our nation in captivity under him. But then he fell sick and died. Read.
Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive.
Right. So, what year was this? That the Persian, the Greeks under Alexander came into power.
300. 333 BC.
God. 333 BC. 333 BC. Alexander the Greek came into rulership. That's when they took on the Persians. That's when they became the superpower. And how long did they rule for? He ruled for 12 years. Not a long time. He ruled for 12 years, became sick. Some brothers say he died of syphilis. You never know with those Greeks. Always going to put each other behind. So, or most of it, there's not one of the son, probably the old version of it, eight or something. So he died in 321 BC. He died in 321 BC. Read on.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died. And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right, so his servants ruled. He had four top generals. Understand? And so what it did was, what did I say? Let me see. When he perceived that he was going to die, he called his four generals together. And he divided his kingdom among his four top generals. You know who was his four generals?
Let me try it.
Yeah.
Cassandra.
Yeah.
Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Lysimachus.
Yeah.
And Ptolemy.
God. Thunder, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Of course, since you name all four, you know what the regions they were assigned by Alexander.
I know Cassandra had Egypt.
No.
It was Lysimachus.
Lysimachus at Asia Minor and what got Thrace.
Egypt was ruled by Ptolemy. Right?
Ptolemy got Egypt, Khan. Cassandra got Macedonia, and Seleucus got Syria. Seleucus got Syria.
What region did Cassandra get?
Cassandra got Macedonia.
And you have Seleucus, Cassandra. Who's the other one again?
Ptolemy,
And there's one more.
that's Demetrius.
What region did he get?
That's Demetrius got Asia Minor and Thrace.
Oh.
Now continue in verse 10. Now here you are. All right.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked rule, Antiochus, surnamed
Hold on a second. I'm going to continue that in the first Maccabees, but now let's go to Daniel 8. Yeah, start with verse 1. Yeah. I'm going to go back and forth between Maccabees and Daniel.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 1. In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision.
So where was Daniel at this time? Where was Daniel?
In Rome?
No, Daniel wasn't in Rome.
Babylon.
Yeah. Babylon. Daniel was in Babylon at this time. Under the Babylonians. Daniel was one of the Judahites who was carried away. You can read about this in Kings, the 17th chapter. Or the Babylonians took the most notable and smartest and the best and the brightest, because to brought them to Babylon to build up their empire. You can read about that in chapter 17, Ezekiel. So Daniel right now, read on. Daniel, I'll read on. You see what happened to Daniel.
And it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace.
Wait a minute, what verse here?
Verse 2. The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 2.
Start from verse 2. Start verse 2.
And I saw in a vision.
Right.
And it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision that was by the river Ulai.
See, Daniel was in the Babylonian captivity because Belshazzar is one of the kings of Babylon. But the part of Babylon that Daniel was where the Elam, called Elam, Shushan, where the Elamites were. Read.
Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns.
See, this is a vision that Daniel was getting. Read on. He looked over, he saw a ram which had two horns. Read.
And two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
See, those two horns which he had was what? The Persian and the Mede Empire. Understand it? There's a vision that Daniel was having of the nation that was going to come after the Babylonian and the Assyrians. Daniel was getting a vision of our rulership was going to be transferred from one kingdom to the next. He saw a ram with two horns. And those two horns were the Persian and the Medes. And read on, and there was one who was higher than the other. It was like a twin nation rulership. The Medes and then the Persian, but the Persian became superior to the Medes. So eventually it was more like the Medes. The Persians were the dominant force in that empire after the Babylonians. and the Medes were kind of like a minor. Read.
Verse 4. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great.
Right. So that ram, the Persian and Medes, they were just taking over different territories. No one could stand in the way. They were expanding their border, their rulership, conquering other nations round about them, and no nation could stand up to them. Read.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground.
And as I was considering, behold, and he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. Read.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Right, and he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So that he-goat, we're going to read on his I'm going to read on this thing what the he-goat is. Read.
And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power.
Now he-goat is talking about the Greeks. The he-goat is talking about the Greeks. And that notable horn is talking about Alexander, the ruler. What does horn signify?
Power.
Kingdom, rulership, power. So the he-goat was the Greeks. I just understand that the notable horn was Alexander. And the he-goat came to the ram, that had two horns, which was the Persian and Mede twin empire, which I had seen before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. So it's talking about Alexander confronting aggressively with fury and hatred the Persian and Medes. See that, that's right there. That's a depiction right there. You know what I mean? That he-goat is is Alexander the Greek rushing into the Persian and Mede Empire, confronting, making war against the Persian and Mede Empire. Read.
Verse 7. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. For he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Right. Alexander at this point, 333 BC, was a dominant force. He took over rulership from the Persian and Mede Empire. And no one could deliver the Persian Mede from Alexander the Greek. Read.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And
right. And then the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. We just read about that in the Apocrypha. He was strong, he ruled for 12 years, then he got sick. So he got weakened now. Physically weakened, literally weakened. And for it came up, read. And for the horn came up what? Or the great horn came up what?
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken.
He became sick in 321 BC, after ruling for 12 years. Read.
And for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
What are those four notable ones that came up for the horn? Alexander the Greek?
Four generals.
Cassandra, Ptolemy, Lysimachus, and Cassandra, Ptolemy, Seleucus, and Lysimachus.
Exactly. That's what that's talking about. The four four notable ones toward the four winds. The four notable ones were the four generals that came to succeed Alexander the Greek. And also society or refer to him as Alexander the Great. And I said, and that kingdom was divided among those four top generals. Read.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
And out of those four notable ones came forth a little horn. Who or what is a little horn?
Antiochus.
Okay. Antiochus Epiphanes. What does that mean? Epiphanes.
I don't know something.
God manifested on earth.
God manifested in the earth. You know, the Greeks started to put themselves in the place of Moses. So that's how they refer to him. Antiochus Epiphanes. God manifested in earth. That's how popped up. That's how popped up they are. The Edomites. That's the nature of them. That's the nature of them to be popped up like that. They're proud like that. Read.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great.
What was the present? Towards the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. What's the pleasant land?
Israel.
Okay. Read.
And it waxed great, even to the hosts of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
What is that talking about? And it walks great, the little horn, Antiochus Epiphanes, even to the host of heaven. What does that mean?
He was able to stand against Israel.
Right. And he cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground.
He put down our army, right?
Put an army, yeah? What else?
He was able to subjugate us, not subjugate us, put us in captivity. Or
We got to go to the apocalypse to get more details on this, but that's basically what it's talking about. It's talking about we're gonna get the details of the apocrypha. The whole this is when the whole what they call it, so-called Hellenistic period started, when when they destroyed our temple, when they polluted our temple. When they polluted our temple, I was sacrificing animals, swine, unclean beasts, and forbid Israel to worship on the Sabbath. I was passed the creed to have everyone abandon their heritage, culture, and nationality, and all that, and conform to the Greek way of life, nationality. Read on.
Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
What does that mean? Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
that's when he passed a decree that all people should be one people. That's when the majority of Israel agreed with him.
Yeah. The daily what is the daily sacrifice?
Our laws and statutes, keeping them.
That's just the what do we do on the daily sacrifice? We would sacrifice in the Mosai.
Yeah.
Where we make peace offering. Sin offering. All those are sacrificed into the Mosai. But we will do that on the altar. So he forbade that. He forbade that. No, we gotta get here. We gotta get here. So he forbade all that to happen. So he had men. He chose men of other tribes to who were willing to abandon their nationality and follow the Greek ways, to sacrifice swine and all that. Read.
And the place of the sanctuary was cast down.
Right. So they were no longer the Levites were no longer in control of the sanctuary of the altar, but the Greeks with the help of the Israelites who were willing to conform to the Greek ways, with sacrificing swine and unclean beasts at the altar. That's why the daily sacrifice is no longer in effect. Let's go back to the Apocrypha.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Captivity, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome.
What verse here?
Verse 10.
Okay.
And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
What? You reigned in the 137th year in the kingdom of the Greeks.
And those
137th year in the kingdom of the Greeks. 137. When did they start ruling? So when did the Greeks came into rulership?
33 BC. Hold on, let's get that. Let's do the math on that. 196 BC? 333. What year was that? 196. They reigned in the 137th year. 37.
Time. So he started ruling. So Antiochus Epiphanes started ruling 196 BC. Understand? You see, he reigned in the 137th year of the Greeks. After the time of Alexander, since the Greeks started ruling, which was 333 BC. So counting down, you subtract 137 from that 333, you get 196. Read.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
See that? Just right now. Ain't nothing new under the sun. The Most High word is so true. Even right now, man, you always have a lot of people, the TD Snakes, Craft Lord Otter, all these guys, these mega pastors, these are high-profile pastors, these mega churches, trying to conform to the ways of the world. They're forbidden, giving them the nationality, always trying to go against Israel. That's what they do. Just back then, the same thing happened. Or Israelites were willing to conform to the ways of the Greeks. That's for a taste of power. No one our history and how close we were to the Most High, but when they get the power, man, it's just like okay, we have reached Romans yet, so let's say the Greek. Read on.
That are round about us.
Mm-hmm.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
See, that's what it is saying. Ever since, read it again, Christopher again.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Yeah. Let us go and make a covenant with these heathens, because ever since we stopped and associate ourselves with these heathens, we have had much sorrow. So let's conform ourselves. So let's do what they say. Let's fall in line, you know what I mean, and just follow the orders. And it will be well with us. That's what wicked Israelites are saying. Trying to encourage our people to do wickedness. Read.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
See? So the king gave them permission. They went to the king, Antiochus Epiphanes, who gave them permission to do after the ways of the heathen. Read on.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Right. You know where the Olympics came from, right? That's what this is talking about. The Greeks were the one that started the Olympic Games. Verse 14 says, "Wherefore they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem." That's what the Greeks, just like the Greeks did, according to the customs of the nation, the heathen, the Greeks, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. You know what? They no longer are circumcising the male child like we used to do. They no longer take the commandments of the Most High like they used to do. But now they were joined themselves to the heathens and were sold to do mischief. Understand? They were sold to do mischief on, you know what? On the promise of a reward for following the ways of the other nations, they abandoned their heritage, the culture, the nationality, the commandment of the Most High, and now are now totally so-called Hellenized. Read.
Verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of two realms. Therefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him, and fled, and many were wounded to death.
See, Ptolemy, the thing about it, when we read the Bible, of course, it's not, as I said, Ptolemy as in 321 BC when the king was about. This is a descendant of that Ptolemy from the lineage. But they don't make a distinction between Ptolemy 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever. They just say Ptolemy. But you just have to be mindful of of the era of time when these events are taking place, so you can picture who specifically this is referring to. But basically, the same, the same Greeks were, were because ever since the split of the kingdom among the four generals, they warred against each other. And then right here, reading about our Antiochus Epiphanes, who was came from the Seleucus dynasty, was ruling in Syria. Now he's making war against Ptolemy, who came from the same Greek empire, originally ruled by Alexander the Greek. But now he's trying to unite the kingdom of Egypt with Syria. Right?
Verse 18. And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him, and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after Antiochus had spent in Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the veils, and the censers of gold, and the bell and crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found.
So he did that in the 143rd year. Now, subject 143 to the 333. To see exactly when this took place. When Antiochus Epiphanes marched into our altar. What? Got it out there?
Yeah, when they're taking the menorah and all the stuff.
What year is this? Does it say?
Well, they don't give a year. But okay. They speak about Antiochus when he came into Israel.
Subject 143 from the 333. What do you got?
190.
190? Okay. So in 190, that's when they marched into a temple, and polluted the altar and started. I took out all those precious things, just like the Babylonians did in 608 BC. Now the Greeks are doing it. Because all those things that that the Babylonians had taken from the temple in 608 BC, Cyrus had given them back to the Israelites and take back to the second temple. So now the Greeks have taken away all those things. 190 BC. Okay, read on.
Verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoken very proudly.
Having made a great massacre. What does that mean? Slaughter many of the Israelites. Slaughter many because we didn't just roll over and let them do that. I mean, wicked men were cooperating with him. But many of our people, they stood up to him. But what? It was the Greeks time to rule. It was Antiochus Epiphanes time to rule, so our people got slaughtered. Read.
Verse 25. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, so that the princes and the elders mourned. The virgins and the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness.
Right, so the elders were weeping, everyone was weeping, the virgins were weeping when they saw the calamity that was upon Israel. I mean, everyone was weeping and mourning. Read.
Verse 28. The land also was moved for an inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion.
Now jump to verse 41.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they shall follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice, and drink offerings, and the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. And they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. And to the end they might forget the law, and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
Right, so now at this point, this is what the whole process of Hellenization came about. King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom. He wrote letters towards his whole kingdom, telling every nations in his whole kingdom to forbid their ways, to leave their laws to all the nations, and all the nations agreed to this commandment of the king. Yeah, many of the Israelites consented. See that? Yeah, many also of the Israelites. Many, does many mean all? Many doesn't mean all. Many means many. A lot. Majority? I don't know. But many is a lot, a significant amount. Many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. They stopped keeping the Sabbath. They sacrificed unto idols. Stop keeping the commandments. Start what? It's to set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That's what the Israelites did. That's what the Greeks had the Israelites do. And all the other nations, they didn't do that because they live at an altar. So they just easily conform to the ways of the Greeks. Understand? That's what they did. And that was in 190 BC. Understand? And then this continued until what? This continued on. Who rose up? Who of the Israelites rose up to start this?
Matthias, the Levite.
Okay. Who was he?
Matthias, the Levite. Matthias was a priest.
What scripture is that he referencing?
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. Let me read it, or?
First Maccabees 2, verse 1.
Come.
Okay, read it. Yeah. Hold on.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Hold on. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon. Okay, read on.
And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cadiz.
When was this? We read all the Greeks went into the temple in 190 BC, right? And polluted the temple. And had the Israelites sacrificing swine and unclean beasts upon the altar that they built for the idols of the Greeks and the nations round about them. So now we're reading about Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib from Jerusalem, a priest and a dwelt in Modin. So when was this? This is 167 BC. The Matthias was of the what do you call it? Hasmoneans. Understand that they were the ones who revolted against read on. Revolted against Antiochus and the Greeks.
Verse 2. And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cadiz, Simon, called Basi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avaron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apphus. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me, for was I born to see this misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom, and gotten of her spoils?
Right. Matthias they couldn't believe what was happening. Woe is me. What despair, destruction come upon me to see all this. What nation hasn't gotten this far? All the nations played a part in spoiling Israel at this point, because all the nations were enforcing the king's decree to make sure that Israel conformed to the Greek ways. Understand? Well, that's Matthias and his 5 sons.
Yeah, that's Judas. That's Matthias and his 5 sons.
Matthias and his 5 sons of the Hasmonean dynasty. When all these things are taking place. Read.
Verse 11. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore.
What's the point in living, man? We can't live like this. With all this wickedness and abomination going on, our people be polluted, robbed, spoiled. We can't sacrifice unclean beasts and swine to these idols. What is the point in living? So they started repentance, ripping their clothes and all that. Read.
Verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city, Modin, to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officer, and said unto Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler, and an honorable, and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heaven have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
See, now the king has sent a man to Mattathias and said, Yo, you're a honorable man in Israel. Everyone look up to you. You're blessed with people look up to you. That's your sons. You're a prominent man. So if you take the lead and make a sacrifice to the king and follow the king's ways, you be greatly rewarded. So basically, he was telling Mattathias to sell out. That's what he was telling him to do. Read.
Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments.
Though all the nations run about obey this king and fall away from their way of worshiping, and give consent to the king's commandment. Read.
Verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren work in the covenant of our fathers.
Yeah, yet will I, even though those nations do those things, follow your ways, forgetting their way of worship and following the king's commandment, yet as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Most High. Me, my sons, and our brethren round about us. We're going to serve the Most High by Shema Gawasha. That's what Mattathias his response was. Read.
Verse 20, verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinance.
The Most High forbid that we should forsake the Most High's commandments and ordinances. Read.
We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or left.
And in those circumstances, are we going to hearken to the king's commandments to go away from the Most High's commandments? Read.
Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
See that? After Mattathias said all that, you got to know the simple Israelite. The simple Israelite come to the altar to make a sacrifice right in front of Mattathias. Let's see what this plays out. I think you're made a visionary. I think you're gonna envision what's gonna play out. How is this gonna play out? Let's see what happens.
Verse 24. Which thing when Mattathias saw,
you lost your mind? You're gonna do what? I got to say all that. I just told you all my house, my sons, and my brethren round about me, and I'm gonna keep the Most High's commandment. You're gonna come in front of me. I want to sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts on this altar to these heathen nations. You lost your mind? Let's see. Go on.
He was inflamed with zeal.
What? Really?
And his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Now he began to sacrifice. Now he became a living sacrifice right there. Don't try to conform to the ways of the world. Because I slew him right there on the altar. Read on.
Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt zealously for the law of the Most High, like as Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salah.
Right. So just like Phineas, the history is Phineas, right? Oh, it's right. So that spirit with that simple Jake and the Moabite woman stood up for the Most High, and when our people were polluting themselves, the heathens and committing whoredom and all that with other nations and about. Likewise, Matthias stood up for the Most High, you know what I mean? And slew the simple Israelite and the king's official right there and all just, I mean, all these glorious acts, man, when I wonder what people stood up for the Most High like this. The Most High, hey, all these are you're reading the book of life for this. You know, I mean, the Most High is a glorious reward for men of such zeal. I will risk life and limb and everything to what? To protect the Most High's honor, to keep His laws, statutes, and commandments. Read. Verse 27.
Verse 27. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children, and their wives, and their cattle, because of afflictions increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem and the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursued after them a great number. Having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done heretofore suffice. Come forth to do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment, to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them.
Right. So reading about how Matthias stood up for the Most High with the zeal that they had on him, and encouraged men who had similar zeal to join him, which many of them responded to his call, and they fled into the mountains. Because at this point they were like outlaws, man. Because of course, the search was out for them. Of course, the king was going to send his army after them. So they had to run. With the act like this, they had to run. So now they became like fugitives from Antiochus the Epiphanes and the Greeks. And they were living like, like fugitives in the mountains. I mean, but of course, we're gonna read more. This, of course, like the beginning of the revolt against Antiochus Epiphanes, which we know at one time through the week you get it. You can read about this because this goes into leading up to the cleansing of the temple, to rededicate of the temple, cleansing of the temple, but rededicating back to the Most High, and leading up to what we know knows the Hanukkah. So we're going to conclude that today. We see this thing started like after the division of Alexander's empire. One of the prominent ones under the Seleucid dynasty, Antiochus Epiphanes, 196 to 196 BC, and that they entered the temple 190 BC, and right now I believe it's approximately 167 BC that Matthias of the Hasmonean dynasty revolted against the Greek rulership and their effort to have all the nations, including the Israelites, be Hellenized and follow the Greek customs. And I'm going to conclude that today. I guess then you can basically after the read about our sons, because it's different sons. I started with Judas Maccabeus, gone different sons. Going to the Hanukkah. Then after that, then the Romans were the ones who came into prominence of the nation. Understand? They basically gave a superpower So I guess next week we go into the Romans, because this after this now, I may continue with this because it's really a good a lot of good stories in this also. So it's going to talk about Nicanor and all that, and the different revolts by the different Maccabees, Judas and John and all that. So I may continue with this, or I may just just summarize it basically and go into the Roman, where the Romans came into prominence. And then I'm gonna say shalom. I'm gonna say Tuwada, Yasharala for listening. And this is gonna be the end of the conference call for today. But of course, most I willing, we'll be here again 12 noon Eastern time for the Sabbath service. Shamash Gawashat. Tuwada for listening. Amadi Mwapanya, Yarashalam, stand up is Jerusalem. Yeah. Amashi Yaspalala. Amashi Yaspalala. Abinawa, Shabashimaya, Kadash, Aya, Shamka, Hawa, Malakwaka, Ratazaka, Aya, Aisha, Arataza, Bashimaya, Tandanawa, Nakam, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Awabak Nawa, Wasalak Nawa, Awabak Nawa, Wala Tabaya Nawa, Manasaya one, Abal, Awashan Nawa, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Wahatapa Walam, Asham, Mashiach, Yawashad. Read English, right?
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will his Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashim Mashek Haushai. What up, y'all?
Hallelujah.